Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is your man Fetch the Great checking in once again. Let's get straight to it, shall we? Let's talk about something that's extremely important tonight. Let's have a talk that is probably going to ruffle a whole lot of feathers, but I really don't give a damn because it's the truth. Let's talk about a harsh reality that we all need to face about our world, about our society. Let's talk about religion. You know, that word that is almost taboo sometimes when it comes to, you know, work, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to people that, we deal with every day in our lives. It seems like when you bring up religion, all of a sudden things can just so quickly go off of the tracks, right? There's a reason for that. There's a very good reason for that. It's because religion is one of those things that it can truly destroy friendships. It can destroy relationships, whether they be platonic or romantic. Religion is one of those things that honestly should not be discussed unless you absolutely need to. And there's a very good underlying explanation for that. It's the fact that religion is usually one of those things that people hold so dear to their hearts that they are willing to vehemently defend their individual belief system to the death, it appears, because oftentimes when it comes to a person's specific religion that they subscribe to, it's usually something that they have been taught from when they were young children, all the way in childhood, all the way up through adulthood. They've continued to believe those same beliefs, right? There aren't many people who are like myself, complete free thinkers who have actually not only done the research, but also had an objective Socratic approach to how they look at different religions, right? But let's break it all down. Let's start with Christianity, right? Let's start with Christianity. And before I even get started, listen, this is not meant to be a sacrilegious conversation in any way. And I am more than willing to get into the theology of it all. I would love to, because I am one of those people who is an absolute, I pride myself on being an absolute seeker of the truth, and I love breaking things down, like I stated, from a Socratic approach. If you're not sure what a Socratic approach is, obviously the root word there is Socratic. Well, the root word of Socratic is Socrates. Socratic means you're taking the method of thought and approach to questioning things from the same way that Socrates, the ancient philosopher, did, meaning that you question every single thing, you break down every single detail to get to the core truth. That's taking the Socratic approach, questioning everything. And when it comes to theology, when it comes to religion, that is the exact method that I have always taken. Now, let's start from my childhood personally. I was raised in the church. I was raised in a Baptist church. My parents are devout Christians to this day. They are absolute devout Christians. And hey, what's going on? What's going on? I was raised in the church. They always took me to church every Sunday. Well, generally every Sunday. Would we miss one every now and then? Yes. But they raised me in the church, instilling good old Christian beliefs in me. You don't question God. You don't question the Bible. It is what it is. Follow the teachings that we learn in the Bible and stay on the straight and narrow path. And you have to get saved. You got to get baptized. These are the belief systems that this is the belief, should I say, and the values that anyone who is a devout Christian would be passing down to their child. So that's the way that I was raised, right? So as a child, in my childhood all the way up to in my teenage years, that is basically just what I was following. I had no option. and honestly, I'm fine with that. I believe in God. To this day, I believe in God. Keyword, God. I did not say a specific person, such as Jesus Christ or Yahshua or insert any name you want there. There's so many, right? There's so many different names that even in the Christian faith, there's so many different names that you could use. And as I get back to the story, as I matriculated through young adulthood and into my formative years, into my 20s, I just started more and more questioning things. And when you start questioning things, guys, it's not a bad thing. It's not bad to question what you've been taught or things that have been passed down to you from your parents. It's never a bad idea to question things, even though a lot of times, especially in Black households, I can't speak for any community other than my own. You had to let me know if the white community and the Asians and the Latinos are the same way. But normally you simply don't question certain things that your parents teach you, especially when it comes to theology, when it comes to religion, when it comes to God. So we're blindly told to just believe this book. We're told to just blindly believe the things that our pastors are telling us in these churches, right? However, as I became a young man and I continued growing older, wiser, and just becoming more inquisitive about the world, I started getting more and more curious about this book that we are all supposed to just blindly follow behind and blindly believe, right? So you know what I did? I took it upon myself to read the Bible from cover to cover. Took a while, yes, but in order to truly understand something, in order to truly have an informed opinion, you must do the research and you must put in the work yourself to get a firm and thorough understanding of it. And that's exactly what I did when it comes to the Bible, because I wanted to be able to have a clear, concise, and thorough understanding of the scripture. I was never satisfied with simply having a pastor stand in that pulpit and just hold court and just give me his sermons and tell me what certain things mean and just making it his own. Because that's what pastors do. Pastors take the word and then they amplify it and they just disperse it to their congregation. They can use it any way they want. They can put a twist on it. But one thing you cannot put a twist on is the actual scripture itself. So that's why I read the Bible in totality. Therefore, I can quote scriptures, I can quote verses, chapters like nobody's business. What's my favorite Bible verse? I would say Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. That would be my favorite verse, chapter and verse. So anyways, getting back to the point, when it comes to the way I was raised, and I was taught a certain way, but then as I started doing the research myself, I started finding many inconsistencies with the Bible. Anybody who is being objective about the Bible will tell you that there's many places in the Bible that contradict themselves, many different contradictions. And most people will explain that away by saying, oh, well, there's the Old Testament and the New Testament. A lot of things in the New Testament kind of nullified some of the things in the Old Testament. Okay. But then there's several things within both of the individual testaments that contradict themselves within the respective testaments, right? So that was always interesting to me as I continued reading and researching. So as I grew older, I'm beginning to get a full understanding of the fact that, hey, this book that so many people just blindly live their lives by, they just blindly live their lives by this book, and yet there's so many inconsistencies and contradictions in this particular book. The basic instructions before leaving Earth, the Bible. So that struck me as extremely interesting. And that's what took me down the path of beginning to research and become knowledgeable about many other religions. Because in order to get a firm understanding, or should I say, in order to have an informed opinion about religion in totality, I had to really dig deep, put the work in, put in the time necessary to get informed about several different religions. And one thing that I found is the fact that more often than not, many of the religions, guys, many of them have extremely similar framework, extremely similar stories. There's so many similarities between so many of the religions that are popular across the world. And that's what made me come to the ultimate decision and the ultimate, confirmation, in my opinion. This is just what I believe. It made me come to the ultimate determination that religion is man-made. Religion itself is man-made. Let me be precise. I believe there are thousands of religions, to my knowledge. Thousands of religions on this planet. And how crazy is it? Answer this question. I want you to ask yourself this. How crazy is it, or how arrogant is it as human beings that every single person with their specific belief system, with whatever religion they subscribe to, that person believes that this religion is the right one. There's thousands of religions, and yet so many human beings have the unmitigated gall and arrogance to believe that their religion just happens to be the right one. A Christian will tell you that a Buddhist is crazy. Someone who practices Shintoism will tell you that someone who subscribes to Catholicism is a nut. Just to give you an example, every single sect of society, every single person, every single group of people who subscribe to the same religion, they believe vehemently that their religion is the right one. Or is it more likely, should I say, with that being said, since everybody thinks that their religion is just so, it just so happens to be the right one, what's more likely? The fact that your religion is in fact the right one, or is it possible that every single person is simply looking for a belief system that fits, their threshold of logic? Everybody needs something to believe in, is what it ultimately comes down to. And given that fact that every single person is so stubborn, once they become entrenched in a specific religion or a specific belief system, the problem is that they become so firm in what they believe that they don't think anything else can exist. They don't think that there's any other plausible explanation for certain things. So with that being said, you'll have someone who's a Christian who does not want to listen to anything that someone, like I said earlier, is that they don't want to listen to something that somebody who is maybe a Buddhist is going to say. And that Buddhist doesn't want to listen to anything that this person who is a Wiccan is going to say. There's, like I said, there's like thousands of religions, right? Everybody believes that their religion is the correct one. And due to that fact that we have so many different religions, we have so many people who are absolutely dug in and entrenched in their belief system, it causes more division than anything. When in actuality, this is where my personal belief is. My personal belief is that we have to get away from religion. Religion is man-made construct. Religion is a man-made construct. We have thousands of man-made constructs and belief systems on this earth, and all they do ultimately is cause division amongst all of us. At the end of the day, I think it should all come down to God. Regardless what the name is, it should all come down to God, right? Doesn't that just seem logical? I feel like that's just an extremely logical based standpoint to have. Instead of getting so caught up in names, what you specifically call your God, what they specifically call their God, let's get to the actual root of the issue. Aren't we all still worshiping and aren't we all operating under the belief that there is a higher being? There is a God. Well, those of us that actually believe in God. Now, if you're an atheist, obviously this particular train of thought does not necessarily apply to you. I get that. But as far as those of us that do believe in God, why is it that so many people are so worried about religion? Why does it matter to you whether or not a person is Christian, whether they're a Catholic, whether they're Muslim, whether they're Buddhist, Shintoism, whether they're, there's so many different religions. Give me 1 second. I want to be precise. I want to be precise when I'm talking here. This is just one of those topics. It's extremely important to talk about this. How many are there actually? How many? I said thousands, but I could have been off. How many religions? Oh, damn, I wasn't off. There's 10,000 religions. Conservatively, worldwide, there are conservatively 10,000 religions, with most of them falling under the 12 classical religions, which is, oof. All right. Baha'i, Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism, Hinduism, Islam, Jainism, Judaism, Shinto, Sikhism, Taoism, and Zoroastrianism. Obviously, the most popular religion in the entire world is Christianity. That's the most popular one, right? I say around, let's see, around 2.3 to 2.4 billion people on the planet subscribe to Christianity. So those people that subscribe to Christianity, as I said before, those people all firmly believe that this is the right one. This is the one. If you don't believe in this, you're going to hell. You're crazy. So with that being said, and if we have all of these people, so how many people are on the planet? About 7 point something billion. So we have 5 billion plus other people who don't subscribe to Christianity. They probably have their own belief systems. They have their own religions that they subscribe to. Are we supposed to believe that even though we have so many different options here, so many different religions, so many different ideas and things that people can subscribe to, who is ultimately able to confirm with 100% certainty that their religion is the right one? How? How can you confirm that one way or another? The fact is, you can't. And that's the thing about religion. And that's why it causes so much division. At the end of the day, regardless what, excuse me, at the end of the day, whatever religion you actually do subscribe to, if any, the fact is that regardless which one you personally believe in, the truth is that none of us can absolutely with 100% certainty prove it one way or another. It can't be proven. That's why it comes down to faith. That's why religion is so faith-based. You just have to believe. You just have to believe. That's the whole thing. That's the entire foundation of religion. You can't confirm it. I mean, of course, you can say that you talk to God. We all talk. Well, I talk to God every day. I talk to God every single day, or at least I believe that I do. I truly believe in my heart that I talk to God. When I'm praying every single night, I believe that I am talking to God directly. But am I able to confirm one way or another if I actually am? No. Nobody on this planet can confirm one way or another which religion is actually the right one. You know why? Because there isn't a right religion. That's why we need to remove religion from the conversation altogether. Do you believe in God or do you not? That's what it should ultimately come down to. Religions are nothing more than man-made constructs. That's why there's 10,000 of them on the planet. Everybody thinks that theirs is the right one, but we don't know. Not only do we not know, but I personally believe that none of them are the right one, because it should all come down to the connection that you have with the higher power. The connection that you personally have with God. Do you believe that there is a God? Do you pray to God? Do you talk to him? Do you actually have a relationship with God? That's what it should ultimately come down to. Don't talk to me about man-made constructs called religions. Don't talk to me about that. And I understand that this may ruffle some feathers. This may make people, look at me in a different light. That's fine. I am a free thinker who has done the painstaking research in several religions enough to know that many of them are very similar, extremely similar, and also the fact that there's a lot of inconsistencies and contradictions in all of them. So many, in fact, that it makes me wonder, why do so many people blindly live their lives by these books? Get away from religion and connect with God. I'll say that one more time. Get away from religion, which is a man-made construct, and connect with God. That's what it should ultimately come down to. That's what's important. What is your relationship with God? Because for all we know, that religion that you subscribe to, it could be the wrong one. Of course, you believe with all your heart that it's the right one, but so do all these other billions of people who subscribe to other religions. And the fact is that none of us can confirm with 100% certainty which one is actually valid and which ones are not. So with that being said, doesn't that lead you to believe, or should I say, if you're looking at this from a logical standpoint, shouldn't that lead you to believe that religions are not what you should be putting your faith in? All of your faith should be going into your connection with the higher power directly. That's just my opinion. That's just the way that I look at this. Like I said, I've had extremely heated debates with many different people, even my own father and myself. We've had extremely heated debates because, you know, he's like I said, my father, my parents are devout Christians. They look upon, you know, anybody who's questioning the Bible or questioning the teachings that they've been obviously subscribing to their whole lives. They look at that as being, you know, I guess sacrilegious or disrespect. They look at that as disrespectful to it to a certain extent. When in actuality, I'm just a truth seeker. When in actuality, I'm just an objective Socratic thinker who questions everything because I want to get down to the truth. I don't care about what the world has believed forever. I'd much rather do all the research myself so that I can draw my own conclusions and have an informed opinion about the topic. And that's exactly what I have done when it comes to religion. So I don't subscribe to religion. The only thing that I'm concerned about is my relationship with God, my direct relationship with God. And that is very much intact, very strong, and I talk to God every day. What about you? What do you think about this topic? Do you agree with me when it comes to religion, or do you have a contrasting point of view? I would be more than happy to hear your thoughts. So please comment when you see this video. Leave me comments. Let me know what you think. And let's keep a conversation going. That's what it's all about. It's all about keeping the conversation going and building upon it. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. I just wanted to spark some thought tonight. Get those gears turning in your heads, and hopefully I'm able to influence you to start thinking critically about, you know, religion. And if you subscribe to a particular religion, I want you to question everything about it. Why do you subscribe to that religion that you subscribe to? Is it because your parents told you that this is the right one? Or is it because you actually believe with all your heart that that's the right one? Based upon what? That's what I want to know. So once again, hit me up in the comments, leave your thoughts, and let's talk about it. This is your man, Thatch the Great. I'll holla. Peace.